Hey gang, today I'm going to review new to me Tom Brown Tracker number 2, which is probably the most reviewed knife on the YouTube. As you can see here, I took it for a test drive in my local woods. I wanted to try out the features that my other knives don't have, such as this pronounced belly and the undercut straight, and just to see if it will indeed replace several tools. And you know what? I did find different uses for the features on this knife, but they are not what you think. To find out, you have to stick to the end. My favorite bushcrafting related feature is the belly. When I used it to baton through a piece of white oak, it did split wood a little better than any other bushcraft knife that I have. The saw on the spine of the blade is total gimmick, or as salesmen call it, product differentiator. Basically a bullshit feature that attracts attention and sells your product. What's most interesting, this feature existed for decades and people are still buying into it. It does help you make lots of spark with a ferrous rod. Too bad I always carry a lighter. Let's just say I would be notching branches with my pocket knife and cutting bigger branches off with my folding saw. The usefulness of the sheath provided with the knife is below mediocre. So putting it into a scout configuration, which is the main gimmick here, is extremely difficult unless you undo the belt and just simply feed it through, which makes spring clips unnecessary. So as I struggle with it, I'm thinking, hey, I was an artillery scout in the 80s, and I don't recall a single idiot mounting a knife like this on his belt, because that's a sure way to stab yourself in the ass. After trying it a few times, I realized that invariably the saw catches on the edge of the sheath. And sometimes the tip tries to get between the sheath and the belt because there's just too much space there too. I bet anyone who said anything positive about this sheath was putting the knife in it while looking at the mirror like I'm doing here. And for you impressionable youths who think you will be able to conceal this knife in scout configuration, take a look at this. People be like, hey, is that a knife on your back, or is your butt monkey just happy to see me? Being an optimist, I did find a good use for this knife carry configuration. See how it provides a very convenient load-bearing shelf for my backpack? So really what this configuration is good for, let's admit it, is impressing the F out of your buddies. And as I was agonizing this morning before my first cup of coffee over a $200 paperweight sitting on my cutting board, an epiphany occurred. The light bulb went off. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing my new breakfast knife. Just look how well it shreds the potatoes and smooshes freshly uncanned beef. With comfort and ease, it slides the food off the cutting board onto the pan. With what panache, it performs the duties of pedestrian spatula. The features on this knife make it a perfect egg cracker. And that over-penetration that caused the yolk to break, it's totally my fault. Don't blame it on the knife. This Tracker 2 is so good I haven't shed a single tear slicing this onion. And now that the breakfast is almost done, it's time for a paper cutting test. So what if it doesn't cut through my groceries receipt? Wasn't it designed for batoning? Here you have to be careful. Due to the edge geometry, the blade keeps trying to walk off on an angle. If you're not from Canada, you probably don't know that the French call this type of bread le bâton. Although I don't have a clue why the French stole the American term reserved for splitting wood using a club and then named a loaf of bread after it. Leave a comment if you understand the reason. The breakfast is done and this completes the video. In conclusion, you know what I really hate about this knife? Is the fact that I really dig it. Digging.